Hello everyone and welcome back to Animation Pilgrimage, where we watch every single theatrically released animated film in order. I'm Sean.
And I'm Tennille.
And today we are still in 1962 and we have watched The Wild Swans from the USSR.
Yeah, this is another fairy tale based on Hans Christian Andersen's stories. And this one appears to be kind of based on a musical as well. Really neat art direction in this film.
Yeah, I would agree. I actually really enjoyed how this movie looked.
Yeah, visually this is probably my favorite Russian film.
Probably, or it's really high up there at least.
Yeah, and also, as a special note, this one was filmed in widescreen.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, which is unusual for the last few films we've seen. They've all been back to 4:3.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this one was really pretty, and I really, really enjoyed it. If not for a few very, very problematic parts.
Mm-hmm.
Which are just like...
Oh.
Man.
Oh no.
Ah, danger.
Danger or dinger?
Danger.
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 Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to get into the story?
Sure. All right. So the story of the Wild Swans. There's a king who has 11 sons and 1 daughter, and he loves them dearly, but his wife has died, so he marries a new wife, and turns out she's an evil witch, and she turns all of the boys into swans. She wants to turn them into like black birds, but they're too good, so they turn into swans instead. Mm-hmm. But she chases them out of the castle, and the daughter, she wants to turn dumb and ugly and evil-hearted, but she's too pure for that, so instead she just makes her black.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on, we'll get back to that. Either way, Dad doesn't recognize his daughter and chases her out of the castle and tries to sick the dogs on her. Thankfully, the dogs recognize her and don't kill her, but she has to leave. And then she goes and lives with an old lady for a number of years, and now she's an adult. Mm-hmm. And her brothers have come back. They're like coming back to visit. Apparently, they do this every year or so. And they find her, except they don't think it's her because she's black. So she throws herself off a cliff, which happens to fall into a magical lake, which cures her of her blackness. And now everyone's happy. From here, the story gets better, thankfully. From here, they're all reunited and they're all happy, and they're like, hey, we live in this other kingdom and it's great and all, so you should just come with us. So they just like make this big old net and they carry her across the sea. And while in the middle of the sea, they like have to stop and rest because they turn into humans at night, so they only stay swans during the day. So they have to rest halfway across the sea. While on this tiny little island, the daughter Eliza?
Yeah.
Eliza. She talks to a crow there, and the crow tells her how to cure her brothers. She has to pick nettles. She has to pick nettles with her bare hands, and then sew shirts out of them with her bare hands. She has to sew all 11 of them, and once she starts doing this, she cannot say a word until she is fully done.
Or it'll kill her brothers.
Otherwise, all of her brothers will die because magic.
Yeah.
And once she makes all these shirts, she puts them on the brothers, and then they will stay humans forever.
Yeah, they'll be cured.
Mm-hmm. So once they get back to the cave that the brothers live in, because they live in a cave, not like anything
Yeah, they
nice.
say like, we live in another kingdom. And it's like, oh, you found like a castle to live in? That's cool. Like, no, they
No, it's
just
a
live
cave.
in a cave.
So she doesn't tell her brothers what she's doing.
No.
She just
I thought there would
starts...
become a problem there, but it doesn't.
No,
with the
instead she
brothers.
just starts doing it. And obviously she goes through all this struggle. At the same time, in this other kingdom that they now live in, the king is currently unwed, and he's like a young, handsome guy that looks very much so like a Disney prince.
Yeah, he looks like Prince Charming or Philip. Mm-hmm. With like slightly darker skin.
Yeah, which is nice. Mm-hmm. Either way, the head of the church, I think.
I was a bit unclear about who all
He
these
is?
other people were.
I feel like it's the head of the church because he's got a monk working for him. But anyways, he has a daughter and he wants to marry his daughter to the king so that he's in charge.
Yeah.
But while out hunting, the prince finds the cave where Eliza is staying. And she can't say anything, so he's just like, here, we're taking you back to my castle because you're beautiful and stuff. And she can't say anything to stop this.
She can't say no, therefore she obviously means yes. Which is the other problematic thing.
Mm-hmm.
There is a point where
the king is literally singing a song about how everything's cool and amazing, and there's this girl that he loves, and she's never said no.
So I guess it's fine.
Therefore, it's okay. No, it's not. So, there's a tournament, and the bishop guy's like, all right, I'm gonna have my son show up the king so that the king won't marry the girl?
The point is that his son will then marry her because it's a tournament to fight for her hand.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so if his son marries her, then
The king can't
the
marry
king
her.
can't, so he'll marry his daughter.
Yeah, okay. Well, the king wins,
Yeah.
and they're married off screen.
Yeah.
By this point, the 11 brothers have figured out that...
Well, they're not married yet. They're trying... Now the priest guy is trying to convince the kingdom and trying to figure out whether or not... Trying to find some way to blame her to be a witch.
Yeah, he's just gonna, like, call her a witch even if she's not a witch just to get her burned at the stake to get her out of the way.
Yeah.
And he's, like, making proclamations in the king's name without the king actually knowing about it, and, you know, general evil guy stuff.
Yeah.
About this point, the brothers have been searching for who knows how long it's been. Ever since she went missing
Yeah, days.
from the cave.
And she's frantically, like, trying to, like...
Finish all of
these things.
Because, thankfully, people just conveniently keep giving her more nettles.
Yeah.
Like, the king is like, when you were in the cave, we noticed that you were making all these shirts out of nettles, so you
We
don't...
brought them along.
You're clearly upset and, like that you're here and stuff, so we're gonna make you feel more at home and give you a bunch of nettles
Yeah.
so that you can keep making these shirts. And then when she gets thrown in
Prison.
the guy's like, instead of giving her a bed of hay, give her a bed of nettles. And I mean,
alright.
well, okay, that's actually what she needs, so good for you. So like the whole time, all the way to the stake, she is still finishing the last
Yeah,
shirt.
they're like carting her, you know, you've got like the executioner like leading her there and she's just like
frantically making this. By this point, the brothers have discovered that she was captured and in jail. So, unfortunately, it's night, so they all turn into humans again. But conveniently, they all have swords in their cave, and they start like hilariously marching or running in time. It looks really, it's very visually cool, but like not realistic at all. But this movie's not really going for super realism.
It's one of those things where it's like, it's funny because it's like, oh, they're reusing animation because it's easy, but it also looks cool, so they kind of just made it work. Mm-hmm. I don't know, it works for the visual aesthetic of this film.
But it's like, you just see like a montage of them like marching towards the castle, like march running. And then her getting like carted along, and
yeah.
And then the crow is like, "Oh crap, things are going bad. I better go get the king, who's out hunting again."
Why'd you go hunting, dude? You knew this was about to happen.
Well, no, he didn't. He didn't know, like, he was convinced to go off to hunt by the priest.
Oh,
and then the priest,
okay.
in the meantime, did all of this stuff
That's right.
to, like, throw her in jail and get her burned at the stake before the king can ever get back.
Okay.
Why the king wouldn't just immediately come back and, like, no, you're gone, dude. You killed the girl that I loved.
Well,
I don't know.
tried to.
Yeah. Well, no. I'm saying, like, if the priest had succeeded in his adventure here.
Right.
Or his venture, not adventure.
Yeah.
Why the king wouldn't just come back and, like, what the heck did you do?
No, I'm not marrying your daughter, you asshat.
You went behind my back and killed the girl that I loved and call her a witch. Gonna burn you at the stake or something.
Yeah.
So I don't see what the priest thinks is gonna happen here, but whatever. All the brothers thankfully get there in time, just as night is hitting, so they turn on back into swans. But they, like, fly over to the
Morning hits.
oh yeah, morning hits. So
they turn back into swans.
turn back into swans, and they fly over, and she starts, like, throwing the shirts on them, and then they, like, also still have their swords.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, they have their clothes. Like,
It's true. And so they're able to defend everything, and the king gets there like, I knew you weren't a witch, and stuff. And happily ever after.
yeah, she speaks and she's like, I'm innocent. Because, you know, she saved her brothers now, so she can talk.
Yeah. And everything worked out together, and it was great because people helped each other.
Oh, stop it.
The end. It, like, literally, it's like the story's over, and then it, like, throws in, like, one tagline of communism, and then it's, like, done.
No, it doesn't. You did that. You did that after we finished watching the movie.
No.
The crow comes back and says that even though things were sad, things ended up working out together. I believe things will always work out happily in the end. That's what he said.
He specifically said because people worked
No,
together and helped
they-
each other.
no, they
Yes,
didn't.
it did.
No, it didn't.
Yes,
you
it
put
did.
That in.
No, I did not.
You said that after we finished watching the film.
No.
Yes, you
It was
did.
in there.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Hold on, I need to prove this.
It was not. You said that.
Nuh-uh. I extrapolated upon it, but it was in there. This is very important to double check in the middle of this review.
Much has been said.
Much has been sad in this tale, but because our heroes were not afraid of anything, bravely fought the evil people, and helped each other,
Oh, so what?
all ended well.
So what? Just because someone says that
And that's
people
how it
help?
always will be. I know that much. I really have lived a long time in this world, and everything always ends well.
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
See?
Okay, I thought it had a little more communism in there.
No, it did not.
Okay.
You extrapolated.
Apparently I did. I don't know, it felt like it was there.
That's because right after it ended, you said that. And you're just putting your own words in your head in the movie.
Okay, fine. I thought it was put in there just as like a brief line to like, this is why the government's allowed to pay for this because communism.
No, give the movie a break.
Yep, yeah. Honestly, this is a good movie.
Except
Sorry.
for...
Except for those very, very, very bad things. I'm happy that it's not about communism again.
Yeah, I mean, that's what made me really enjoy this one. I was like, oh yeah, fairy tale, and it's not like obvious symbolism for like communism and stuff. I'm like, cool. I really enjoyed this.
But
It made me feel nostalgic for watching
the earlier Russian
the
films?
earlier Russian films. I'm like, oh, this is so nice. And then they had the whole,
Blackface.
yeah,
Like-
it's a curse to be black subtext,
And
and
I don't know if that was in the original Hans Christian Andersen version or if that was
who
for
knows,
this.
probably.
It's like, you guys could have changed that. You could have just made her ugly. not black.
Well, yeah. I mean, they say they make her ugly, but they just make her black. Like,
Yeah.
she's not ugly. She's...
Like, yeah, it's really...
just... Yeah.
That is not okay.
Yeah.
That is just straight up bad and wrong and not okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like, oh, well,
And it's also really frustrating that the brothers don't just see through it.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you're obviously not our sister.
Like, it takes... It literally just about takes her running off the cliff and committing suicide for them to be like, maybe.
Well, no, even then, they're just like trying to save this random girl from killing herself, not the
Right.
fact that it's their sister.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
And then later, the king's singing a song about how she never said no, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Is really, really not okay. Always get
Quote,
consent.
unquote, problematic. TM.
No, that's just problematic.
Yeah.
Always get consent, kids.
No
Doesn't-
does not mean yes.
Doesn't matter what you're talking
Or
about.
not saying no does not, like...
The absence of no does not
mean
equal yes.
Yeah.
You need them to say yes for it to mean yes.
Yeah. Although okay, going
Like,
back to some positives
that doesn't even have
about
to be
this.
like about sexual content. Just anything.
Yeah.
Don't get like them not saying anything does not mean consent.
Yeah. Going back to some positives about
Okay.
this, though. Like I said, I really liked the art direction. I really liked the animation. I liked how in this story it wasn't about returning. I mean, it kind of is about returning to the status quo because they end up in a new kingdom and like things are happy and fine. But like the bad guy who starts all this never gets comeuppance.
Yeah, the evil witch mom. She's fine. They
Yeah.
never go back there.
And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but it's just
Interesting.
a thing. And yeah, and it's interesting.
It's like, yeah, no, they just kind of move on.
They move on with their lives. And I mean, like, it's been years, and they're older.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it, but it's interesting. So often in our stories, that kind of thing,
Would be a negative.
right?
Like in like American stories, it's like, oh, the bad guy didn't get comeuppance in the end?
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Yeah, here that's very culturally something that like if a
Wrong.
movie tried to do that nowadays, it'd be like, well, that was awful. The bad guy won. And it's like, well, the bad guy didn't win. They just didn't get justice.
Yeah.
And that's, that's something that we as a society value a lot, is making sure that bad people get justice.
Mm-hmm. It's like, sure, the later villain, the priest guy, does get comeuppance, but the mom doesn't.
Well, but even then, like,
We don't actually
His-
see comeuppance.
yeah, like, his comeuppance is that he doesn't win.
Yeah. It's like there might have been more that happens after the story, but we don't see it, so we have no idea if anything actually happens then.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a mixed bag, this movie.
Yeah. Very, extremely mixed bag. Because on one hand, I really enjoyed it, but on the other hand, it's just
There's
like,
some really problematic parts.
yeah.
So, if you acknowledge the bad things, maybe watch it for the animation?
In the art direction?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's...
We're very wishy-washy on this one, because
Mhm.
it's hard to know exactly what to feel. I think I do know how I feel, and it's mixed, and that's fine.
Yeah. It's like, not every movie's going to be amazing or bad. This is just both.
It has good things, it has bad things, and that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make it all good or all bad. It's
So,
just what it is.
Condemn it for the bad things and enjoy the good things, I guess.
Yeah. Which I think is a great segue into talking about what we'll be seeing Next week.
Yes, next week we are going to 1963, back in America with Disney, and we are watching The Sword in the Stone.
So, see you guys then.
Bye!